Behind the dusty trails of the frontier lies a hidden history of oddities. These aren't your typical cowboys. Today, we reveal the most unique and bizarre characters of the Old West. Don't blink, or you'll miss their incredible stories. Deep in the heart of the Wild West lived a man whose life was so unbelievable, many called him a liar. Meet James Beckworth, a mountain man, a fur trapper, and a legend who defied every boundary of his time. Born to an enslaved mother and a white plantation owner, James was born into chains, but his spirit was untamable. In 1810, he broke free, trading civilization for the rugged peaks of the Rocky Mountains. Picture this, a tall, muscular man with braided hair, gold earrings, and a gaze that could pierce through stone. He didn't just survive the wilderness, he reinvented himself. He joined the Crow Nation, earning their respect through pure strength. They didn't just accept him, they made him a chief. He married, had children, and fought side by side with his Crow brothers for 6 long years before vanishing back into the horizon. Beckworth was everywhere. He fought in the Mexican-American War, he stole horses for a living, and most famously, he discovered a vital pass through the Sierra Nevada mountains, saving countless pioneers on their way to California. But every legend has a dark side. He was a scout during the infamous Sand Creek Massacre, a stain on a complex legacy. And his death, it remains a shocking mystery. Some say he died during a hunt, while others whisper a darker tale, that he was poisoned by a vengeful wife who refused to leave him again. James Beckworth, a man of 1,000 lives and a death shrouded in shadows. In the year 1864, a young boy named Robert McGee embarked on a journey across the American West. But this was no ordinary trip. It was a descent into a living nightmare. At just 13 years old, McGee was left orphaned on the trail, a child forced to grow up in a world that showed no mercy. While traveling through Kansas with a wagon train, disaster struck. A war party of Brule Sioux, led by Chief Little Turtle, ambushed the group. It was a brutal massacre, leaving only Robert and another boy alive. But for Robert, the horror was only beginning. The chief decided to torture the boy personally. He shot Robert in the back, then fired 2 arrows into his body just to be sure. But then he did the unthinkable. The chief drew his knife and sliced away 64 square inches of Robert's scalp, leaving his skull bare and bleeding. But here is the shocking truth. Robert McGee remained conscious through it all. He felt every cut, every arrow, every agonizing second of the attack. Left for dead on the plains, a miracle happened. A group of soldiers found him, still clinging to life. Robert McGee didn't just survive, he lived to tell his story for decades. This photograph you see, it was taken in 1890, showing the deep scars and the permanent loss of his hair. He became a living testament to the violence of the frontier, a man who was scalped alive and refused to stay down. Robert McGee, the boy who survived the unsurvivable. In the dusty trails of the Old West, there was a stagecoach driver like no other. Meet Charley Parkhurst, a man known for his unmatched skill with a team of horses, his stern gaze behind a black eye patch, and a reputation for being one of the toughest souls in California. For 30 years, Charley drove heavy coaches through raging storms and treacherous mountain passes. He once steered a coach across a collapsing bridge just seconds before it fell, and he didn't blink when he had to gun down bandits trying to rob his passengers. He was a man's man, a hard-drinking, tobacco-chewing legend of the frontier.
But in 1879, when Charley passed away at the age of 67, the world was struck by a shocking revelation. As the doctor prepared his body for burial, he discovered a secret Charley had guarded for his entire life. Charley Parkhurst, the legendary whip of the West, was actually a woman. Born Charlotte "Darky" Parkhurst, she had disguised herself as a man to find freedom and opportunity in a world that denied it to women. She lived, worked, and fought as a man for decades, and no one ever suspected a thing. But there's more. In 1868, Charley's name appeared on the official voter registration rolls. This means this one-eyed stagecoach driver was likely the first woman to ever vote in a California election, more than 50 years before it was legal nationwide. Charley Parkhurst didn't just drive coaches, she drove change, living life on her own terms until the very end.
In the lawless world of the Wild West, guns were the only language people spoke. But in Abilene, Kansas, one man decided to change the rules. Meet Tom Smith, the iron-fisted marshal who cleaned up the deadliest towns without ever pulling a trigger. Smith was a legend, a man who resigned from the police force after accidentally killing a teenager, seeking redemption in the violent frontier. While Texas cowboys brought chaos to Abilene with their disturbing the peace games, Smith brought order. His rule was simple: no guns within city limits. And when those rough cowboys dared to defy him, Smith didn't reach for a holster. He used his bare fists to knock them unconscious. Riding his famous horse, Silver Heels, he was respected, feared, and unstoppable. But even the toughest heroes have a breaking point. On November 2nd, 1870, Smith went to arrest a wanted murderer named Andrew McConnell. As Smith approached, McConnell fired a shot straight into the marshal's chest. But that wasn't the end. As Smith fought back, another outlaw, Moses Miles, charged in with an axe, and in a moment of pure horror, he nearly severed Smith's head from his body. The town was left shattered. They buried their hero in a local cemetery, leaving Abilene without a lawman, until a man named Wild Bill Hickok rode into town. Tom Smith, the man who fought with his fists, but died by the axe. In the 1800s, people thought poker was a man's game. That was until they met Alice Tubbs. Meet the woman who became a legend under the name Poker Alice. Born in England and raised in a refined boarding school, Alice was the last person you'd expect to see in a smoke-filled saloon. But when she moved to the American West, she didn't just play the game, she dominated it. She claimed she learned by watching her first husband, but soon she was the one taking everyone's money. Alice was a master of psychology. She wore the most luxurious silk dresses from New York, not just for style, but to distract her male opponents while she counted every card in the deck. She was famous for smoking fat cigars and her iconic catchphrase, "Praise the Lord and place your bets. I'll take your money with no regrets." Throughout her career, Alice won over $250,000. That's a fortune in the Wild West. She was so skilled that she once won enough money in a single night to buy back her own wedding ring after her second husband passed away. But don't let the silk dresses fool you. Alice was tough. She once managed a poker table in a saloon owned by Bob Ford, the man who killed Jesse James. And in her 70s, she was still defiant, even being arrested for running a brothel and bootlegging. Alice Tubbs, a lady of high class and a gambler with a heart of pure steel. He was known as the Destroying Angel, a man who claimed to have killed over 100 people in the name of God.
Meet Orrin Porter Rockwell, perhaps the most revered and feared figure in the history of the Mormon West. Born in Massachusetts, Rockwell became the personal bodyguard to Joseph Smith, the founder of the Mormon Church. He was a praying warrior, a man who believed his strength came from a divine promise. Smith once told him, as long as he never cut his hair, no bullet or blade could ever harm him. And for decades, like a modern-day Samson, he kept his hair long and his aim deadly. He was more than just a bodyguard. He was an enforcer. When Smith was assassinated, Rockwell took revenge, hunting down those responsible with cold, calculated precision. Later, as a marshal in Salt Lake City, he became the law. He didn't care about fair fights. He cared about justice, his own kind of justice. But even the destroying angel had a soft side. He only cut his hair once in his entire life, and it wasn't for him. He did it to make a wig for a woman who had lost her hair to illness. Despite his violent reputation, that one act of kindness remains his most shocking secret. Orrin Porter Rockwell died in his bed at an old age, a man who lived by the sword but died in peace. A legend who proved that in the Wild West, the line between sainthood and sin was very, very thin.
At first glance, W.W. Pitman didn't look like a legendary gunslinger. He was a short, quiet town marshal, not the kind of man songs are written about. But in 1917, Pitman earned his place in history with the most unbelievable shot ever recorded in the Wild West. It was September 15th. A drunk outlaw named Francisco Lopez was shooting wildly through the town. Pitman, as the lawman, confronted him, asking him peacefully to surrender. But Lopez, fueled by liquor and rage, shouted, "I won't be arrested," and pulled his weapon. Now listen closely. Pitman was not a professional gunfighter. In 5 years as a marshal, he had never killed anyone. Lopez, however, was lightning fast. He fired 2 shots before Pitman could even react. But then, Pitman fired back. At the exact same microsecond, Lopez fired again. The 2 bullets collided in midair with a deafening crack. Pitman's bullet flew straight through the barrel of Lopez's gun, slamming into the outlaw's own bullet inside the chamber. Lopez screamed and dropped his weapon, his hand scorched by the heat of the impact. It was a 1 in a billion miracle. In 1932, this story was so shocking that Ripley's Believe It or Not awarded Pitman a free trip to Cuba just to hear him tell it. Today, that legendary gun is still on display, a permanent reminder of the day Pitman fired the lucky shot that defied the laws of physics. In the dark history of the American West, no name struck more terror into the hearts of outlaws than George Maledon. Known as the Prince of Hangmen, Maledon was the cold, silent hand of justice for the infamous hanging judge Isaac Parker. For 22 years in Fort Smith, Arkansas, Maledon turned execution into a gruesome science. He was paid $100 for every neck he broke, and during his career, he officially executed more than 60 men. He was meticulous, personally testing every rope, oiling the hemp to ensure it slid smoothly, because to him, a clean drop was a professional pride. The crowds that gathered to watch his work were massive. In 1875, men, women, and even children crowded around to see Maledon pull the lever that dropped 6 men to death simultaneously. It was a spectacle of death that defined an era. But Maledon wasn't just a cold executioner. He once had to shoot 5 prisoners attempting to escape, and 2 of them never even made it to his gallows. When he finally retired, he didn't leave the darkness behind. He joined a traveling circus, shocking audiences by displaying the very ropes he used to end so many lives. When asked if the ghosts of the men he killed ever haunted him, Maledon simply replied with a chilling calm, "No, I never hanged a man who came back to complain about how I handled my business." George Maledon, the man who made death his profession and the rope his legacy.
In the rough and tumble world of Montana, one name commanded respect from everyone: Stagecoach Mary. Born into slavery, Mary Fields didn't just survive the Civil War, she reinvented herself in the Wild West. Standing 6 feet tall and weighing 200 pounds, she was a force of nature who smoked cigars, carried a revolver under her apron, and never backed down from a fight. At the age of 60, when most people settled down, Mary made history. She became the first African-American woman to work for the U.S. Postal Service as a star route mail carrier. Why did they hire her? Because she could hitch a team of 6 horses faster than any man who applied. For 8 years, Mary drove her stagecoach through blizzards, wolf attacks, and treacherous terrain. Once, when a pack of wolves frightened her horses and flipped the wagon, Mary stayed with the mail all night long, fending off the predators with her rifle and her bare hands. She never missed a single day of work. But don't let her toughness fool you. The people of Cascade, Montana adored her. She was the only woman allowed in the local saloons, and the town's children would gather around to hear her stories. When her laundry business burned down in 1912, the entire community came together to build her a new home. Stagecoach Mary, a woman who delivered more than just mail. She delivered hope and proof that it's never too late to become a legend.
At the top of our list is a man whose name remains a symbol of defiance and tragedy. Meet Ned Christie, a proud member of the Cherokee National Council who became the most wanted man in the West for a crime he never committed. In 1887, Christie was falsely accused of killing a U.S. deputy marshal. Knowing he wouldn't get a fair trial, he retreated to the mountains and built his own Cherokee castle. This wasn't just a cabin, it was a fortress made of double-thick logs with sand-filled gaps and sniper slits. For 5 long years, Christie and his friends held off every lawman who dared to approach, including the legendary Bass Reeves. The law finally brought an army to his doorstep. 25 heavily armed men, a cannon, and sticks of dynamite were used to blast his castle into pieces. As the flames consumed his home, Christie made one last heroic charge, revolver in hand, only to be cut down in a hail of bullets. But here is the heartbreaking truth. Years after his body was put on display like a trophy, a witness came forward to prove that another man had pulled the trigger. Ned Christie was innocent. He wasn't an outlaw. He was a man who died defending his honor against a system that had already decided his fate. Ned Christie, the last warrior of the Old West, a victim of injustice, and a hero whose spirit never surrendered. The Wild West was full of legends, but which of these 10 figures shocked you the most? If you love these untold stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button, share this video, and leave a comment below. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.